it would take a lot of chocolate to kill a dog.
Yeah, someone accidentally fed
actually?
it
Yeah,
a
I
lot.
used to work at I used to want to be a veterinarian.
Oh,
and
wow.
like years ago, I worked at
and
one.
he tested how much chocolate it would take.
Yeah,
and it was
experimented on. It's by the body weight, but even like it's so even a small dog
Let's say a
could
small
eat
dog. Okay.
could eat like a whole Hershey's bar and
Are you serious?
be totally I mean, it is toxic for them.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, but I remember having the conversation with
but a
one
little
of the
chocolate
vets.
as a treat now and then.
No, we're not advocating giving your dogs chocolate. Just
Is that
to be on the
financial
safe
advice or?
side. That
Read
you
the
can take
disclosure
that to the
below
bank.
if you want to
Yeah,
feed
read-
your dog chocolate.
Read the disclosure.
Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning. Every day they're pounding it. I'm not fucking leaving. Surprise.
So welcome back to the Iced Coffee Hour. My name is Stephan, and this isn't the Iced Coffee Hour.
Wait, where are we?
I don't know.
This is kind of. Wait, am I having a fever dream?
I feel crazy.
I feel crazy
You guys
too.
okay?
Yeah, but wait, no, this set looks familiar, but kind of different, doesn't it? Holy shit!
You got a serious setup here. How many people do you have working?
At least 20 back there. Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah, they're all unpaid interns because all the money goes into the pockets of Daddy Cody and Noel,
He takes all the money.
and then they give us a pittance here and there.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
They make
that's
us.
true.
They make us do the. Did you see the video of at the hockey game where they had the teachers stuffing dollars in their pockets so they
Oh,
could pay for school stuff?
so
That's
sad.
That's how we get paid.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's good. What's the minimum wage here?
$7.
$7. That's
Yeah,
nice.
a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm glad Cody
it-
treats you well.
it's a livable wage,
Yeah.
and we get all the free liquid death we
Yeah,
want.
I was about to say,
Oh, yeah.
I've never had it before. I'm going to try it for the first time. Right?
What do we think?
Live reaction.
I'm curious how much money does this make?
It's got to make a ton. Have you heard about that water that they give out for free, and they make money by selling ad space on the bottle?
That's genius.
It's really smart.
Yeah.
The more I think about it,
What's
the more
it called?
I don't know. Free water. I think it's called free water. Yeah.
Wow.
It's called free
Wow,
water.
free water, the
And
water's
they-
easy. Wait.
And
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
ad space. It makes sense.
It is until it all just
Wow.
becomes missing children.
Well, you got to
They're
find them somehow. They are cartons.
That's a good idea. See, when I was young, I really wanted to do. I had no idea how to do this, but you know when you make a phone call, like you hear the ringing on the other end, right?
Yeah.
I really wanted to create some sort of program or a business where instead of hearing a ringing, you would hear a 30-second advertisement. Like, you know, when you click a YouTube video, you hear that like ad. But imagine that you make an outgoing call and you have to listen to an ad, but in return, you save money on your cell phone plan.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
You got to
Would-
rely on people not picking up the phone quickly.
No, so that was going
Or-
to be my question. Would you have to wait to hear the whole ad?
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
That
I had
is
no
a-
idea how to do it.
Oh,
Like
you
an
hear the ad
18-year-old, yeah.
before it starts ringing.
Right.
For them. Oh,
or,
I thought it was playing
or you hear
instead
the
of
ad, or like you have to listen to 15 seconds, and then like the rest of it is until the person picks up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're an ideas guy, aren't
Yeah.
you?
I love ideas.
I love ideas too. Were you a big James Altucher guy?
I don't know who that is.
Ah.
No.
James Altucher is this dork, for lack of a better word, who has crazy like curly hair and glasses, and he was really big on the internet like 10 years ago. He came up around the same time as like Ryan Holiday. You don't know who that is either? No, Ryan Holiday is like a
The
guy.
name sounds familiar. I just don't know.
He's the Daily Stoic guy, and he's one of these old kind of internet dudes who like really took advantage of the media. He would famously like call into news stations and manipulate the media, and then he wrote books about how he manipulated the media. It's a whole
Okay,
thing.
yeah.
But James Altucher, yeah, he's a big ideas guy. Like, oh, you got to write down 10 ideas a day, and then you could turn them into. He used to be a hedge fund guy, and
Okay.
then he was doing stock recommendations. I made money on one of his stocks, but then I lost money on the same stock.
Same stuff. You held it for too long?
I held
or-
it for
yeah.
too long. It was called, I think it was called Vringo, VRNG, and they had a patent case against Google. They basically claimed to own the patent on like Google search.
How was that going to turn out well?
Exactly.
Really?
Well, it was enough because he had enough of a reach that it made the stock like shoot up. And I was like, oh man, I'm getting in on the ground floor of this thing, which is a common theme for me in my
do you think
stock
he sold
history.
it?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that
The price went up. And,
dumped right into it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, I followed the case for, like 2 years.
That's the problem.
Another expensive lesson learned.
As soon as that case gets dismissed, the stock's worthless. Did it get dismissed or what happened? There's no way Google would take that seriously.
I honestly don't remember. I think that I think they won a certain point and then Google appealed and it just turned into this whole rigmarole. Speaking of which, I got to get it out of the way.
All right.
Check the disclaimer in the box because we got to do that. And, we've got our guest here.
Should we tell everyone who we've got?
Go ahead.
We've got Stephan on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
I feel obligated to tell you that we put on Instagram pretty early on when we launched, maybe a few episodes in, we said, who would you guys want to see on the podcast? And you were overwhelmingly our number one.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
You were
Thank you
our
guys.
number one ask.
Oh, that's so cool.
Well, I do. I have to say, you did get slightly edged out by, I think it was these nuts and your mom. But when you filter those out, you were number one.
Yeah, my mom's very popular.
And nobody can beat these nuts.
We don't know quite which one of our moms it was, but it was someone's mom or D's nuts.
Well, both our moms have the same name, so it's basically the
so they
same
were probably
person.
talking about both.
Well, that's cool. That's nice.
Yeah.
Now, why do we have to give the financial disclaimer? You were telling me something.
I just recently passed it's called this, but for those of you who don't, it's the Series 57 exam, which enables me to trade at what's called a prop firm, where they either give you money to trade with or you put in some money and then they leverage it for you and you split the profits. And because of that, I am beholden to certain rules that other podcasters aren't beholden to. And I just have to be careful what I say. Like, I can't explicitly recommend. I mean, we're not doing that anyway, and I wouldn't anyway. But, like, we had a Q&A segment on the last episode where I kind of started to say, hey, you should, if you're this age, you should look into these kind of ETFs instead of this. And I have to run it by this compliance department, and he was like, "You can't say that." But it was okay because you just cut it out. And
but
no
so
big
is
deal.
that your job? Like, that's how you're making money right now?
Yeah.
Oh man, so you could just do the same thing on Public, where you could get a free stock.
This
right?
is true. Public.com. They are partly owned by the firm that I trade at.
Are they actually?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, because you could follow investors like Cody on Public, myself.
You can follow us.
You can follow us.
Yeah,
use that code Trill.
Yeah, use promo code
So
Trill.
good. I'm doing your job for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
The
welcome.
best part is, he has this compliance guy, and he has to send him every episode and all these things, and he has to ask him all these funny things. Our listeners will know there's a episode where Ben, it relates to a story we were telling, but Ben gets naked on an airplane, and he has to send these videos and stuff to some compliance guy at a prop firm, which I love.
Yeah. And he if he's out, hey, Glenn.
Hey, Glenn. Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's really nice.
Yeah.
I really like him. And he'll always say, like, I really like the show. I have no problem with it. I'm just doing my job. And he'll just kind of give me a very direct, I see no problem with this from a compliance standpoint. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Oh my gosh.
My naked ass is good, but everything.
But this is it is silly, right?
It is.
That, if you get that license, all of a sudden you're held to a higher standard and can't say certain things.
Yeah.
And the person who has no training whatsoever, who could spew their mouth off on whatever they want, that's fine.
It's wild.
But you, with training, you can't say that.
Right. And I'm shocked that people like Jim Cramer and all those other people on TV, are they, like, they've got to be licensed in some capacity.
I would imagine he would be licensed, but maybe they give up that license. I don't know the details, but, give it up.
And you are not licensed in any way.
Oh, gosh, no.
Well,
No,
real estate, you have a real estate license,
real estate license, correct.
but there's no rules around.
Real estate's different than a security. So I could talk all day about setting up a Roth IRA or buying index funds or, the ETFs that I'm the most excited about. But real estate is pretty loose in terms of what you can and cannot say. It's totally different from a security.
Right.
So
so one of the questions that we got in the mailbag thing, and I guess this would be the first question for you, and it kind of, for both of us too, and it's an annoying question because it reminds me of when people ask me, how do I get into stocks? What a broad,
Real
dumb,
estate is
not a dumb question, but
real estate. I just find it's an interesting thing because
it feels hard to get into.
Exactly. Like,
it feels
it's
like
not,
the barrier to entry.
No matter what you're playing with stocks, you can dip your toes in with a little amount of money. with real estate, when you're talking about young people getting in, you need enough money to put a down payment down. You need to be able to get approved for a mortgage.
Right.
And so we're wondering if you have any tips for young people who want to make that step. Like, how can you even start to save? How can it's
well, I mean, you could sell your kidney.
Right.
There are organs that you could,
You can
sell
do
on the
without a
black
kidney.
market.
Right.
Use that for a down payment.
Right.
No. There definitely, it's a high barrier to entry.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it so lucrative. Is just because not everyone could go and decide one day, hey, I'm going to buy a fractional share of this property down the street from me, and then I could rent that out myself. So you can absolutely do it with like 3% down. There are FHA loans.
3% down.
Yeah.
Wow.
As low as 3%. Yeah, if you're doing an
Traditionally,
FHA,
you're
but
doing like 20%. Right?
yes. Yeah. Now, with FHA, there's so many guidelines with that. There's so many compliance things that you also have to abide by with FHA. And the chance right now of getting that offer accepted in such a competitive market is difficult. So it could be done, or if you have if you're a veteran or if you're serving, 0% down.
Wow.
So there are ways around it, but for a lot of people, it's you got to save 10 to 20% down. You got to have a great credit score, and you have to have the income to support the loan.
Interesting. And it's funny.
No, sorry.
It's funny because, you say that the high barrier to entry is something that keeps a lot of people out, but if I didn't know otherwise, looking on social media, it feels like everybody and their fucking mom is doing the BRRRR strategy, and everybody's buying laundromats, and everybody's buying vending machines, at least on TikTok.
Yeah, because that's what you post about.
Yeah.
It's like the people who buy them, you post about them.
And I
not
feel
to buy a house and then not post about it.
Sure. And I feel like also you have to really, stocks are one thing, but real estate is so much more involved that you have to be interested in it. You have to have a passion for it, because I'm so overwhelmed by everything that could go wrong, and I just feel like I'm the one who's going to be fucked no matter what. Like, okay, why are you selling me this house? What's the catch here? Like, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Why am I getting, is this a good deal for me?
Yeah.
Is it a good deal for you? Sorry, I get burpy.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we want to take a quick break to thank the sponsor of today's episode,
Manscaped.
Cheers to 2022 and resolutions you can actually keep. How about having a clean and shiny balls all year round? Our sponsors at Manscaped are here to save your balls this year and make the ball drop into 2022 the cleanest and sexiest ever. Set your first New Year's resolutions with good intentions and join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. With our exclusive offer, go to manscaped.com and use code TRILL for 20% off and free shipping.
I don't know about you, Emil, but my New Year's resolution is all about grooming routines. I plan on keeping things tight, prim, proper, professional. What's another P word?
Every year I say, I'm going to keep up with it. It's going to be like, my bathroom's going to be like a barber shop.
This year's your year, pal.
But I never had anything quite like Manscaped to help me out.
Well, now you do. It's new year, new me with the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming. This year, take your package to the next level with their Performance Package 4.0 and brand new Ultra Premium Body Wash. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the Signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer is designed to trim hair on loose skin. Gee, I wonder what kind of loose skin we're talking about. The advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks on your delicate nuts.
A grooming routine isn't complete without applying Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver before showing off your 2022 self.
That's right.
These unique formulations take care of the smelliest part of your body and are a big boost to your confidence into the new year. To complete the set, Manscaped threw in their Shed travel bag and anti-chafing boxer briefs as free gifts to keep all your goodies stored comfortably. Kick discomfort and poor hygiene to the curb this year and use the best tools for the job.
They really thought of everything. Whether your resolution is to work out more or travel to new places, be sure to travel to manscaped.com for our exclusive offer of 20% off plus free shipping with code TRILL. Cheers to new balls in 2022! Get 20% off and free shipping with the code TRILL at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code TRILL. It's new year, no pubes in 2022 with Manscaped.
Well, the good thing is that people will sell a house. See, unlike a business, when you look at a business, you have to think, why are they selling? Because if the business is so good, why would they leave it?
Right.
And that's very true. But then you also get situations where people are just tired of the business. They just want to cash out, retire, they're moving. And when someone's selling a home, there's so many different reasons. Imagine they love this home, but they're having another child and they need another bedroom, or they've just outgrown it, or, a job relocation.
Or they've inherited it.
Or they've inherited, they just want to get rid of it. There's so many, there's such a big multitude of reasons why people would sell a property that otherwise would be fantastic.
Sure. We had my dad bought a house years ago in Lake Elsinore.
Yeah.
Rented it out to this lady, stopped checking in on her after, I don't know, her living there for 10, 15 years. He died 10 years ago. And then we had this woman, she died after she stopped paying rent for a while. I think she had cancer and just lived by herself. Turns out she was a major hoarder.
Yeah.
And we hauled away. We paid these garbage removal guys to haul away. I think it ended up being 2 tons of trash.
Holy shit.
And the house was just unsalvageable. So my mom just sold it for $60,000.
No
just
way.
nothing. Yeah. Who cares? She wanted it to be gone. It was just.
Yeah, but the person who bought that for $60K, I don't know what that would have been under market value, $30K under market value, because you got to think to fix something like that, probably $10,000. It depends on the damage. It's sometimes after under all that trash, then you have infestations of
there were rats.
Yeah, rats, insects. Sometimes there could be mold, mildew. I mean, it just depends what's underneath that.
I occasionally get fed this home inspector guy on TikTok, and that guy's TikToks. All he shows is shitty houses. He's underneath just poking with his screwdriver, and it's just wood
From
falling apart.
Termites?
Termite damage,
moisture.
water, just you name
I just saw one today where the tenants left their pets behind. It was so brutal.
Oh yeah, I saw that with the cat.
Horrible, yeah.
Yeah, people suck. That's the thing also that scares me about renting. If I were to buy a house or a duplex or something and rent it out, have you ever dealt with shitty tenants?
Yeah. My first tenant ever. Everyone always has one. So guaranteed, if you get into real estate and you rent out a property, 100% you will have one tenant who will be a nightmare. Sure. Everyone has that one. Mine was the first tenant I ever rented to. And I was so desperate at the time. I had no money. And I was I just need to take anything. The first guy who called me seemed legit, so I met him. And met him, a clean-shaven guy, was wearing khakis and a button-down shirt. Seemed like he came from a nice accounting job.
Sounds like me.
Yeah. And wore glasses, kind of combed his hair to the side a little bit.
Go on.
Yeah, a little scrub. Yeah, white shirt. Anyway.
This guy sounds hot.
So, he explained to me that, what was it? He was in an accident and was going through an insurance claim, so he wasn't working, but his wife was the one who worked, so all the income ran through her bank account, and so he fixed trucks on the side as a repair person. So he's you're going to see these $1,000 a week cash deposits in her account. I don't have a bank account. They're going out, all this stuff. I believe them.
Buddy,
so anyway,
there's so many red flags.
Yeah. Oh, everything. And then his credit was really bad because of what he said was, health-related problems.
Yeah.
Her credit was bad. But I just figured, you know what? He's making enough. He's, repairing trucks, whatever. They seem like nice people. So I rented to them. First month was great. Second month was great. Third month, he's hey, this money I'm owed is coming a little late. Can I pay the rent halfway through the month? And I was sure. I just cared about just that he paid. I was so desperate that it's as long as you just pay me at any point during the month, I don't care. Paid during the half. And then sure enough, every month after that, the rent was slightly later. Then it was well, I got half now, and then I can pay a half later. Fine. And then he started getting 30 days behind, where he's paying April's rent in May, and then May and mid-June. So started getting further behind, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
And where it became an issue was, after about a year, give or take, the property's value had gone up, and I wanted to do a cash out refinance so I could take money out the property and then buy another property.
Right.
And so I had to have an appraiser go by the property. So the appraiser goes by the property, and the guy won't let him in the garage. And I'm dude, you just got to show him the garage. He's well, I'm growing roses in the garage. I don't want them to get the wrong idea. And I'm
he's not growing roses.
I'm what are you growing in the garage? It's not roses. He's people just get the wrong idea about it. And I was is it weed? And he's yeah, it's weed, but it's legal. And I got the permits, so everything's fine with it. But like federally, it was illegal. In California, it was legal. So it was like this weird gray area where he had the permits for it, but federally, it was still illegal. And so basically, he let the appraiser in the garage. The appraiser instantly was like, no, this is it. So I got a denial from the bank. And then the guy basically told me no one else is coming in the property, and he stopped paying rent. And so, and he got violent too. So I had to serve him with a 3-day notice to pay or quit, which is, after he missed his rent, served him with that notice through an eviction company. They came up and they knocked on his door, and he pulled out a shotgun.
Whoa.
And I told the guy to get off the property or he's shooting. And the guy called the police. The police, it was just, between them. They didn't do anything to the guy. But it was a mess. I ended up taking him to court. He threatened me so many times, like over the phone. Some of it was like, man, we could work this out. I'll pay you. Don't worry. And then like the next message would be like, I'm going to F you up. And, this is like crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then in the courtroom, he found me right before like the case was going up. He was like, you know what? We should settle this man to man. What do we need this for? Parking lot. I'm like, no. And like, he's big, like a big guy. I not that I would fight him, even though I wanted to.
If he wasn't so big, you would have
no
entertained the idea.
No. Yeah, if I could beat him up, no. So anyway, I won the case. He didn't bring any documentation. He claimed that he paid me throughout this entire process, and the judge asked him for proof. He's like, it's at home. And so every single thing that he was supposed to do. Oh, and then he also tried to claim that there was mold in the property, and that's why he wasn't paying. So it was uninhabitable. And the judge said, where's the proof of that? I left that at home. I didn't know I needed that today. So the judge ruled in my favor, had to kick him out, and he trashed the place when he left.
Oh.
Unfortunately, he basically just like took his foot through as many different things as possible, just crashed it.
Did he do anything with shit?
No.
That'd be my nightmare, is that they
just poop.
Spread shit on the walls.
No.
Okay, well, that's good.
No, he broke the appliances. It was just, the place was in such disrepair.
Do you still own it?
Yeah, I do.
Cool.
Do you have a management company running?
Now I do on that property. Now I do. But before, manage that one myself.
Okay.
So I want to, you mentioned the Cash Out Refinance. And so I want to try to explain this, and you can correct me. So this is the strategy that people employ.
Yeah.
They buy a property. You try to buy it not under market value, but I guess under market value. You try to get a good deal on something. You fix it up, you rent it out, and then you refinance it and say it's now worth $100,000 more than what you bought it for. You can get that amount. You can get a loan for that exact amount. If it's $100,000, you get $100,000, which you then use as a down payment on another property, rinse and repeat. Do I have that right, roughly?
Compliance would sign off on that, yeah. You don't say it's worth more. The appraiser says
the appraiser says it's worth more. You take that to the bank and you say, look, this property I bought for $1 million is now worth 1.1. They give you the 0.1, $100,000, and then you go and repeat the process.
They'll give you 70 to 80% of that. So let's say the property goes from 1 to 1.1 of that extra $100,000, they give you $70,000, $80,000 of that.
It's just that simple, folks. If you sign up today,
Is there a fear that the property value could then come down?
Yeah, I mean, it's always possible. But if you bought a property under market value and you fixed it up, usually the worst case, if you do it correctly, is that you break even. Right. And you're just out a whole bunch of time. Usually that's the worst case.
Is there a certain part of the country that you focus on, that you feel like, is it something where are you actively looking around America for up and coming cities like Detroit or something, or do you just stick to what you know?
I've always
Detroit is up and coming, they say. I don't know. I read it on.
Get some affordable properties there.
Sure.
But no, I've always bought where I've lived, because those are the areas that I've known well. And when I grew up in Los Angeles, you could see like where people are moving to and like where the development's happening. So I would only buy within like a 30-minute radius from where I lived.
I watched one of your videos, and I was actually curious because one of them, you went through all of your investments and totaled it up.
Yeah.
I think it was your first property you said you got for close to $60,000 or something like that. Was that in Los Angeles?
San Bernardino. So that was an hour if you drive fast, 90 minutes with a little traffic.
And you were talking about how, because this was way back in 2012, I think.
Yeah, 2012, 2011, 2012.
And, I think we were still recovering from 2008, all those, and, it wasn't a great housing market. someone trying to get in right now, is there any hope? I mean, because it's pretty wild. I'm not an expert at all, but everyone I'm talking to my age who's trying to buy a house is pulling their hair out, seeing stuff they can't even believe. Every time they think they put in a competitive offer, someone just comes in and swoops it up with cash way above asking price. And I'm just curious if there's any hope for people trying to buy houses in this insanely hot market.
What are the options? You make more money, you make a more competitive offer, so you remove contingencies if you're that confident you're going to get the loan, or you move to a different area.
Right.
Like, God, the duplex that I bought was at the time it wasn't really the best area.
In San Bernardino.
No, not San Bernardino. One that I purchased in Los Angeles, and not a lot of people want to live there. I loved it. I thought it was a great area. So sometimes moving further out into less desirable neighborhoods,
right,
by all means, you have to go where you could afford if you really want to buy a property.
Is there any reason to be cautious with how high the property values are going up?
If your plan is to hold for 10, 15, 20 years, it doesn't matter. Even if the market does go down, as long as you could afford the payments, really the value in between now and the time you eventually sell it, if ever, doesn't matter. It's like, as long as you could afford the monthly payments, as long as the rental market, you could rent it out and break even, if you just hold on to it.
Right.
Yeah. I don't care about what the values are of the properties. It doesn't matter. As long as the rents are good and as long as they're occupied.
I guess the risk could be, especially with how wild everything is right now, COVID is still, as much as we wish we were out of it, it's still kind of in control of the economy. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. I guess with an economic downturn, I guess there is a fear of, you could potentially lose your job. And then if property values did go down, then I guess you couldn't necessarily renegotiate your...
You could always try. The banks do not want to foreclose on you.
Right.
So if you lose a job, something happens, the banks really want to work with you. They're not your enemy. Banks do not want to foreclose. You realize how difficult that would be if they foreclosed on you and then tried to take over the property. Like that they could get drawn out for a year and then they have a foreclose. They don't want to deal with it. So usually you could work out something with the bank if you really need to. But, obviously any purchase like that, there's a risk that the value goes down. But if it does, that's why you don't buy a property that you only plan to keep for a few years.
Right.
Obviously, if stuff happens. I get that. But, the backup plan could always be you rent out the property.
Yeah.
You rent out bedrooms in the property. there could be a multitude of things that you could do with it.
I was blown away by you were talking about some of the properties you had invested in, and some of them were in 2020 and, the property value had shot up already, $500,000.
Yeah.
I did not know it was that wild. It was...
well, the Vegas place, I paid $1,440 for it, which is like, now those base lots are selling for $1,800. I paid $1,440. I put $150,000 in it, like redoing the backyard, some of the finishes. And now, like, the home across the street from me sold for $3,500.
Jesus.
Jeez.
Right.
Yeah. Now, given that that's a better property with a slight city view, but still, it's 50 feet away from mine, just across the street.
Why did you move to Vegas?
Well, a multitude of reasons. I was tired of Los Angeles, and I think the shutdown, because before the shutdown, I was going in every single day to the real estate office. And, I was doing real estate less and less and less, but I liked that environment to be able to go in. I close a deal every now and then. But during the shutdown, those first few weeks, I just doubled down on YouTube. And I loved it. Gosh, I had so much fun just staying home in my pajamas, and every day I could make a video, and I had so much fun. I enjoyed it. And that really showed me that, wait a second, I don't have to be in Los Angeles to do this business. It's going really well. And, I prefer Vegas. We have a lot of friends out there. You get so much more for your money. Everything is cheaper. The living conditions are so much better. And,
Got those buffets, too.
You can't beat the buffets.
Seriously. You know what? Everything is substantially cheaper. Just whatever you would want to buy here, just imagine everything's 30% off.
Plus, you got no state tax, right?
Correct.
Oh, that's a good one. I wanted to move. When I did well a couple of years ago in the stock market, my accountant, being an accountant, was just like, "Why don't you just move to a non?"
Go to Texas.
I'm like, buddy, I have friends and family and a life. I'm not just gonna ditch all that to avoid state tax.
Everyone wants to come to Las Vegas. I have never said, "Hey, come. You want to come to Vegas?" They're like, "No." everyone is so excited to come to Vegas
I'm one of the ones who's not. I like the
to
desert.
come visit or to move.
to come visit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because I am curious,
Yeah.
like maybe Vegas will be the next. Everyone's
There's-
moving to
yeah,
Austin
I mean-
from San Francisco
yeah.
and LA. Everyone's
Big.
moving to because California.
Yeah,
it's
just
so
I mean,
expensive.
but everyone has a dollar amount. I mean, you have to consider at some point if you're just looking at the finances, everything else aside. What if I was like, hey, I'll pay you $500,000 a year.
Really?
You just got to move to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Would you do it?
Oh, of course I would.
See?
Well,
Okay.
then I would
what
just
if-
sneak out of state. I
well-
would drive out and come back here and not tell anybody.
Wow.
Certainly not the IRS.
If the state catches you, the IRS you don't have to worry about. It's the California state franchise tax.
You hear that, everybody?
They're-
You don't have to worry about the IRS.
No, honestly, the IRS is really, really, really helpful.
They're a bunch of clowns,
Yeah.
the IRS. I dare you to audit me. Come on.
That doesn't go.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I gotta say,
I'm joking. I
yeah.
do my good taxes.
No. I've dealt with the IRS in the past, not like for audit purposes, knock on wood, but just for random stuff. Like for instance, I received a penalty that it was an accountant issue, not with mine, but they were so helpful on the phone, and like you would think that's like, oh, the IRS is like they're bad. They're so helpful.
Wow.
Like I was shocked how like just pleasant they were to talk to.
We do love
Yeah.
Give
the
the
IRS.
IRS
Yeah,
a
the
call.
IRS is fantastic. Yeah,
Ask them anything. They might know.
yeah.
Yeah, I had it. That's actually, I remember now. That's what my accountant told me because I had, my mind was blown when I moved from California to New York a couple years ago, and I didn't know about the whole domicile rule. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta legally change your domicile, and it was New York, but I hadn't changed my voter registration. I didn't change my ID, so I was potentially looking at having to double pay state taxes.
Yeah,
in
nothing
California.
came from that.
No, thank
Okay.
God. Nobody came sniffing, and I split it. I moved
Yeah.
exactly on half the year. I moved on
Oh,
June
wow.
1st, so it was just this, and I kept flying. I would go back to LA, and my accountant was like, that makes it look
Yeah,
like
nice.
you're still
How much-
domiciled in Los Angeles.
How much were you making though?
I mean, that year I made a little over $1 million.
Did you?
Trading? Yeah, which
Trade.
sucked. Yeah,
but
I know.
was that your first year doing that?
No, that was my first year doing it like full time as my thing. And then here's another thing that I'm sure you're familiar with that I forgot to mention on the first episode when I told my whole story. When you make a lot of money trading, you then have to pay what is it called? Not the
Investment tax.
Yeah, it's like the quarterly tax.
Oh,
the,
estimated tax.
The estimated taxes.
Oh, yeah.
And you pay it based on what you made the previous year.
Correct.
So every quarter I was writing a check for like $90,000 or something
So
like
I
that.
don't pay those. I pick the penalty. The penalty is
The penalty is better.
3%.
Yeah.
And I would rather have my money just invested.
Yeah.
And then pay it all in one big lump sum. It sucks, and it's unfortunate you cannot write off that 3%. So I
Yeah.
cannot be that's an interest. You pay it, but and you just got to run the numbers in everyone's scenario. For me, it's not really made sense to pay it because I'd rather have that money available to jump on deals if I need to.
I totally regret.
But you pay that 3%, so they end up making more money from it. So
Damn, dude, you were writing a check for $90,000 every 3 months.
Yeah, something like that. And it was tragic
Good for
because I had
God
just
bless.
written a check for like $500 and something $1,000. And then my accountant told me,
You're like a
oh,
fucking-
yeah, you got to write a check for estimated taxes. And I said, excuse me, Colin, what? And then he educated me on that, what that was.
Did you get to, since they were so large, did you get to write them in kind of like the lotto check
like
style?
the giant check?
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
That's how you should deliver
Or
those
send
checks
him
to the IRS.
a big box of pennies.
pay it in pennies. Yeah.
That would have been great. We should just why do we still have pennies?
Isn't there a movement?
They
to
should get rid of
them?
it. Yeah.
There is.
Canada
Yeah.
did.
Canada did
Yeah,
it.
they got rid of the penny. Yeah.
Huh. So what's the increment? 5 cents?
5 cents. Okay.
Wow.
And,
They've
I
all
I believe they rounded up or down. Nobody cares. I think we should get rid of the. I forget what the reason is. They've decided to keep the penny. There's some sort of purpose for
There
that.
is.
But what's crazy too is that not only do people hate pennies, but it costs more to produce the penny than what you actually get. So every
Yeah.
penny is
Yeah.
like 4 cents to make. It doesn't make.
It's
any
just
sense.
one of many things that don't make sense about the United States of America. Would you ever move out of America?
Potentially Canadian. I'm half Canadian.
Oh,
Yeah, so I got my Canadian citizenship too.
So where
So-
you said you're from LA. What part of LA are you from?
West LA.
West LA. Santa Monica? I'm from Long Beach.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Did you ever buy property down in Long Beach?
No.
It's I I would if I could, but it's now just as expensive, and rents are just.
You
as
know
high.
what? There was a property I almost purchased in Long Beach, and this is when they had no rent control. And the reason I didn't purchase that property, I think it was like a triplex or a fourplex, was because I had a feeling that everyone was buying in Long Beach because no rent control, that they were eventually going to have rent control.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, they have rent control. So all those properties' values, they kind of got a little wonky from that. But
Hey gang, we want to take a quick break to thank the sponsor of today's episode, Wix. Take your business online with Wix, the leading website creation platform that's got all the tools you need to create, manage, and grow your brand.
Whether you're starting your online business or you've got a side hustle, you can design a site to showcase your brand that'll look great on any device. Join over 200 million people already using Wix's wide range of solutions to enhance their businesses.
Like ultra-smart SEO tools designed to get you found on search engines, faster loading times to create outstanding user experiences, and payment solutions to help you boost your revenue. Plus, with enterprise-grade security built into every site, you know you're in safe hands.
You can manage everything from one dashboard on desktop and mobile, so you can be available anywhere at any time, in the office, at home, or on the go. Want to get started? Head over to Wix.com and create your website today.
What are your thoughts? Do you think that part of the reason, it feels like there's a conflation of a bunch of things that are driving property values higher? Baby boomers dying, croaking, and giving, they have all this cash. Baby boomers have more cash than any generation ever.
What are they doing with it?
Well, then it's getting passed on to their children, who then do what? They buy property, they invest in the stock market, any number of things. It feels like it's that. It feels like millennials who have money from crypto, from any number of things, foreign investment coming in. Stop me if I'm wrong on any of this. But then
Sure.
I wonder if specifically in California, or LA, this SB9 has anything to do with it.
what's the SB9?
SB9 is this no, it's this new bill that just passed, and I believe it's being enacted in January of next year, where any single home lot can be converted into, you can build up to
multiple
2 or
units.
3
Yeah,
units.
right.
Yeah, so that's
And I think the idea is to provide more housing.
the idea behind it is.
But I don't know one way or the other. Some people are saying that it's just going to be a boon to real estate people and landlords, right?
Yeah, okay, so I looked into this a while ago, and my understanding was that all of a sudden, once you do that, now you take your single family home and you turn it into multifamily, which has, again, rent control.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get tenants in there, you cannot raise the rent beyond, I think it's like 3% a year.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many restrictions around that. So I've just, back when I looked at that, I'm like, it's not worth it. If you have a single family home, just keep it that way. I don't
But
know.
if you have a big lot, don't you think it's worth putting
Could be.
an ADU, an additional dwelling unit?
Could be.
I know the lingo. That's what that is, right?
Yeah.
ADU. Yeah, and there's companies that now full on, that's just what they do.
yeah.
They handle all the
Right.
genius. It's a great idea.
Right, and they're so booked. So give it 3-4 years if you want like a full-on ADU there.
Damn.
Yeah,
Wow. God, there's so many great ideas out there. I just can't
takes time.
I can't fit them all in my head. You got this.
Wait,
What
so
other?
Ben was talking
What?
about all these things driving up the housing market.
Sure.
I'm curious if you have any thoughts on investment companies like BlackRock. Well, I do want to get into the Zillow and other startup companies like that, but I want to talk about BlackRock and these other big investment companies buying up property. Is this something that's pretty normal, or because it honestly seemed like something that kind of just went viral?
That's so stupid.
And it was,
It's stupid,
and because we had looked
yeah.
into it a bunch, and we kind of couldn't tell.
We kind of concluded that it's not as big and sensationalist.
No,
It doesn't feel great.
no. BlackRock
Right.
is not out there bidding on like normal homes that people are buying. They're buying huge communities, and a lot of these were purpose built
Right.
to be sold. So someone will buy, 30, 50 acres of land, develop 100 homes for the purpose of selling off to an institution as a portfolio package. These were never homes that were ever designed to be sold individually. Imagine that hassle if you're a big company being like, I'm going to bid on grandma's house today. Let's negotiate with that agent. And then, well, this house across the street, let's negotiate with it. That would be a colossal waste of their time.
But isn't
Yeah.
the fear
So-
still that, they are buying up these huge developments, and then all of a
No,
sudden we have
they're
our...
adding inventory to the market. Those developments never would have existed had they not had the capital to purchase them. They were never. It's like they're adding more supply on the market, and they're doing that to rent. So if anything, they're putting pressure down on it. They're removing some pressure from the rental market. They're doing the market a service by having demand for these extra properties.
You got to admit though that the CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, what a fucking name.
That's
and he's a dork. We never talked about him on here, but we both just think he's
we both hate Larry
massive-
Fink and also his
son
his
is
weird son.
giant dipshit.
Why?
His son is he's
He
just
calls himself a how did he put it? Adventure capitalist.
he's just
he basically just
but he like looted he got into rare earth mining and is just clearly just stripping poor African nations of their natural resources and just but not only that is he sucked at it. Like he sucked at pilfering and looting these countries and like lost
too bad.
all his investors' money. Anyway,
That sucks. Yeah.
yeah, it's
I think he'll land on his feet, Larry Fink's son.
We'll be okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
But so there's no reason to be up in arms about BlackRock buying
it makes for a good headline.
It died.
I
Because
think
when we dug into it, they only were accounting for
It was like 0.01% of the housing supply. And I forget what it was too, but even when you look across the US, across all property, I think it was all institutional investors. I think it was like 0.01%. It was like 0.1%. It was such a small amount that you're not competing with an institutional investor. When you're making an offer on a property, you're probably competing with another investor who's from the US who owns under 8 properties and they're just loaded with cash.
right.
Realistically, it's like your neighbors. It's like your friends of friends that you're competing with,
Yeah.
not these companies.
Since we're talking about these headlines around real estate, the Zillow one was huge. There was a TikTok went viral, and you don't remember
I
this?
didn't see the TikTok.
I was stupid too. It's like it blows my mind.
So- This guy, I think he's a real estate agent.
Yes.
He basically realized the trend.
realized
Or,
he
you
realized
could probably explain it better.
he was a moron. That's what
I
he
love
was.
this side of
so
you,
he's-
man.
because it was stupid.
he was a real
He's a
estate
real,
agent,
which
right?
means he should know better. Just like you're educated in stocks and securities, you should know better than to dispel stupid information. I mean, so his theory was that what Zillow's doing, they're buying up all the properties in the area, and then once they have a monopoly on the homes, they're going to sell one house, or they're going to buy one house, that last one, for, let's just say, $50,000 over the market value. Then all of a sudden, based on that one comp, all the others would be worth more, and then they could sell them or make a ton of money. So imagine if there are 20 properties here, and they bought all of them for $300,000, but the 21st property they pay for $400,000.
Right.
To this guy, is like, well, now they've raised the market value to $400,000.
But that's not how it works.
No.
Yeah,
And it's
every
like-
house is not going to just automatically raise
No. And then his response was, well, I didn't say they were doing that. I said, what if they were doing that? I was like, you implied it.
Well, and this
you
is
know?
the problem with TikTok too. Like, I think a lot of people are just getting their news. So I had saw it. I don't use TikTok really, but I think it probably made
Yes,
its
you
way
do.
Not really.
Okay, sorry.
That was a weird. I don't know why he did that, but things like make their way over to Instagram, and I probably saw it on Instagram, and I was like, holy shit, they're using this algorithm to fuck over all these people. And then I started looking into it, and I guess it is a thing, iBuying, and it's not just them.
Oh, yeah. No, they are.
You buying?
Exactly. But all Redfin wants to get into it.
They're already in it.
Yeah.
OfferPad, Open Door.
Yep.
Open
but
Door's
it's
a little
not,
different,
It's
but
not
yes,
a big
correct.
nefarious plan.
No. So Zillow wanted to do this because they get a lot of data. They make a lot of money from data. So
Sure.
when you reach out to Zillow and you say, I want you to buy my house and I want you to give me an offer. Well, guess what? If Zillow makes an offer and they don't take it, well, now Zillow has their info of a ready and willing seller. What would you pay for that if you're an agent? Well, they looked at the price agents were paying for leads, and I think for like a random person was like $10 to $20, all the way up to almost $1,000 for a ready and willing buyer.
Wow.
So every person that reaches out to Zillow, even if they never sell, imagine that's worth $1,000 to an agent to pay for that information. They want to sell it. So on the back end, that could be worth a lot. But also, I think Zillow just wanted to do it to get in the door. They just wanted to be able to monopolize the market on their end and like compete with some of these other companies who are taking away market share. Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, it makes sense that they would do this. The problem was that Zillow was really bad at it. And they were making offers on properties all around the US. And they had teams that, from what I've heard, I could be totally wrong, that were paid almost like a commission every time they would close a deal. So it would incentivize them. Yeah, we need to close these deals. The problem is that they were overpaying for these properties. And when you hire someone at like $50,000 a year plus bonus, or 30, whatever they might be making plus a bonus, they don't care if they're paying a little over market value. What is it to them? They get a bonus.
Right.
So, Zillow said that they paid basically what the market was offering. So they paid like, 99% of what they would get on the open market. But studies have shown that they actually were paying 104% of the home's market value. And I was reading stories anecdotally online on Reddit of people saying they had the home on the market for a while, no offers. They did the Zillow instant offer, and they got like $50,000 over what they were asking, which they weren't getting any offers anyway. And they're like,
Wow.
So we just took it. And it was so I was reading so many stories of that.
Ooh.
It made me think, well, crap, maybe I should just put my homes, just sell them, because if they're paying that much over, like maybe I just take it. Like, I don't want to sell, but
they've since put that on pause, right? And they've like laid off a bunch of workers,
right? Because that's not how you buy homes. You don't hire 2,000 people to negotiate homes across the U.S. on your behalf who have no experience. Like you have to hire the best agent in that area, and then even then finding a deal is tough. Open Door, at least, what they have going for them is that they don't make crazy offers. They'll make you an offer with enough profit built. I think their profit margin is like 7%. So it's like they're not making much, but they'll still offer on your house at a price that makes sense. So they could stay afloat.
Open Door is they buy your home. They buy homes, fix them up, and resell them. That's their whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And they just went. Was that a Chamath Palihapitiya SPAC?
I don't know.
Do you know? I think it was. It was a SPAC thing. I fucking hate SPAC.
I think isn't Zillow now trying to offload to like a big investor?
Yeah,
like
that was the other
BlackRock?
thing.
Yeah, it wasn't BlackRock. I think it was a buyer like BlackRock, but they wanted to sell off as a portfolio deal to somebody who'd be just taking it all off their hands, which is the only thing that they could do.
Sure.
Matt, they're not going to list these houses. So people are like, ooh, now I could scoop up great deals from Zillow. No. You're going to sell them all off, probably maybe one or two chunks. That's it. So if you want to buy 1,000 homes, maybe.
Okay.
I want to buy 1,000 homes.
Can I ask another question about young people buying homes?
Yeah, sure.
I was wondering if you had any opinions on these kind of newer startup-y mortgage places like Better or Rocket Mortgage, or if there's any pros and cons.
They're great.
One of those.
I think they're fine. I think the more quotes you get, the better, because then you could just use that as leverage. And I've never done a mortgage through them. I've always gone through like big banks, and I found that they usually offer the lowest rates, but I think a lot of these companies are fantastic. And sometimes you just get a rate from them, take that to the bank and say, hey, will you beat this? If the bank beats it, you take it back to the company. You go back and forth with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Should you get as many rates as you can and just keep trying to get?
Yeah. Why not?
Come down to negative. Make them pay you.
Usually I had like 3 banks. I had at one point it was Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and Chase. And I just kept going around. And it took about a week, which, it's just, time consuming. But you take it from Chase to Wells to Bank of America, back to Chase, back to Wells. You keep going until they basically say, okay, this is it. Like, we can't beat that. Or someone else will match it, and then you pick which company. Like, Wells Fargo gave me the lowest rate, but it was just barely lower than what Chase was giving me, and I'd rather work with Chase. So I just picked Chase. But I wouldn't have gotten this rate. I don't like Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo is like
terrible experiences.
They're a terrible bank. They are so unscrupulous. The checking account fiasco.
Yeah, but they turned it around. So they're like the CIA. They were bad back in the 70s. They're doing good now.
And the IRS.
There's still stuff coming out today on Wells Fargo.
Yeah, they're bad people. Graham.
Yeah.
Question. So, I mean, a lot of what we're talking about here feels, and I'm sure you get exhausted by this, and I'm exhausted just by reading about it online, and I'm just barely even paying attention to the real estate market, but bubble talk. Because when you hear these kind of Zillow stories, that smacks of a kind of bubble. And so I guess the question is, do you think that there are any... Does it feel like we're kind of in the clear and that we would never really face something like 2008 again? Like, is there any reason to be kind of cautious?
Oh, man. I mean, if there really was, that would be priced in the market right now. I don't know. There's always a chance something could happen that we don't see today.
Yeah.
And people have been calling for bubbles for a while now.
Yeah.
Really, I think it was 2014 when we started getting back up to like where it was at 2008. It was big. It was big news. Like, oh, we're getting back to where we were before the crash, and it was big. Maybe. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if things were to drop 20%. I wouldn't be surprised if things were to go up 20%. I have no clue.
You heard it, guys.
Yeah.
Prices
Plus or
are
minus.
about to
Things
drop.
could go
Or they could
up
go.
or down.
They could stay the same. They could go down, or they could go up.
Yeah. What's the old phrase? Past results aren't indicative. Past.
Past performance is not indicative of
History
future.
doesn't repeat
result.
itself,
Yeah.
but it rhymes.
It does rhyme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so were you
is-
just asking were you just asking specifically about a housing bubble or any kind of
Yeah,
bubble?
because I know that a lot of what had to do the housing bubble was caused by these adjustable rate mortgages that they would give to anybody with a pulse, and you'd get them in with the teaser rate, whatever it was, 0% or low amount, and then these stupid idiots who shouldn't be buying a home to begin with then suddenly get hit when the adjustable rate kicks in. Their mortgages triple and they can't pay them anymore, and then they default.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know if they're stupid idiots. Like this is people have been told
they are stupid.
They're not. People have been told this is the number one way to build wealth. Especially
True.
like if you want to build intergenerational wealth, owning a home. It's that's the American dream. I mean,
and they were taken advantage of
and
by.
I think there's a lot of policy that was made to make it easier to get these loans because they were like, there's not.
Yeah, there is.
Oh.
That's Wells Fargo's fault.
It's all Wells Fargo's
It's Wells
fault.
Fargo's fault.
We hate them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But so these people aren't stupid. And that's kind of the problem. You see these, everyone wants to buy a house, and it's also very weird. So when it felt very funny when those stories were coming out about BlackRock and large investors buying up houses and stuff. It felt really weird. All of a sudden, I started seeing in the Wall Street Journal and on the Financial Times, well, actually, it's good that we're not going to be able to buy houses. It's actually good. Like, we should actually want there to be a nation of renters. And it was really wild for it to all of a sudden flip.
Who said that?
It was in the Wall Street Journal.
What, a nation of renters is good?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it good?
I don't. It honestly sounded like bullshit. I mean, truly, for all I've heard my entire life was you need to buy a home. That's the only way. That's the best way to build wealth. And it was just so odd that all of a sudden, to see multiple stories like that.
I don't know.
James Altucher is a guy who said, "Never buy, always rent," because you don't have to deal with the property taxes. You don't have to deal with things going wrong. You can move freely because you're not tied to an illiquid.
There's advantages to both.
Sure.
I think in coastal cities or expensive, high cost of living cities, it makes sense to rent. It's going to be cheaper for you to rent your house than buy it. So it really just depends.
Hey guys, we want to take a quick break to thank the sponsor of today's episode, Public. Public.com is an investing app where you can invest in stocks, ETFs, and crypto with any amount of money. What I love about Public is that it helps people become better investors. You can follow other investors and share ideas. People like Graham Stephan, Cody Ko, Shelby Church, and thousands more are on the app.
I joined Public, and you can see what trends I follow. If you search for Ben Kahn in the app, here's me. I'm up 30 smacking frickin' dollars today on Public. You can buy slices of stock/ETF/crypto versus full shares. Alongside thousands of other stocks and ETFs, Public offers 11 crypto assets, including Bitcoin, Cardano, Ethereum, Doge, and Shiba Inu.
The app is free, and there are no commissions on standard trades. Plus, Public puts investors first and doesn't sell your trades to market makers like other investment apps. They route the trades directly to the exchanges.
You'll get a free stock worth up from $3 to $70 when you go to public.com/Trill and create an account. Get started today. Once again, make sure you go to public.com/Trill to get a free stock. Click the link in the description. I've been so tempted. I've gone onto websites. Every now and then I'll get bit by the real estate bug, and I've gone onto websites where they sell portfolios, but it's like in the Midwest. So in Detroit, you can buy 20 homes for
You love the
$250,000. And the part of me that's like, oh man, that's 20 houses for $250,000. I could do that, but they're probably
Yeah, what's the old saying? If it seems too good to
could be true. It's really a good deal.
Like a lot of those homes that were selling in Detroit, and you could buy them between like a few $1,000s and $20,000. Not all of them, but a lot of them. It would cost you more to fix it up. I mean, obviously it would cost you more to fix it up, but like they were basically teardowns. Like
Sure.
you're not buying the property at all. You're buying land that you could develop.
Right.
And I don't think you're going to be like, it's probably going to be hard to find a tenant. Like it's going to be probably surrounded by abandoned buildings.
Well, it depends on the area. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's pivot now to
All right.
let's seamlessly pivot to the stock market because that's what we like to talk about the most. I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on Cathie Wood? Do you like Cathie Wood?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
I think she's gone against the grain, I think, for the last few years. And, I'm curious to see if her outcomes are going to be right for the next 5 years. She has very high expectations. I think, she gained a lot of popularity during 2020.
Yeah.
Like, all of her picks outperformed everything by a ton. This year is a bit of a wake-up call that her fund is down. The S&P 500's up. It's flipped. But she has a 5-year plan. So if things continue in her direction, I think she could continue to do well, but I think time is going to tell.
The big one that she scored on was Tesla, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she had, if I remember correctly, she had maxed out the funds. Her fund is ARK, the one that we've talked about. And she's probably the most bullish person out there other than Tom Lee.
I think I quoted
stand.
her, I think it was like a year and a half ago, where she said that Tesla could be, I think it was like $7,000 a share.
Oh, I remember.
We got very close to that. And she said like $7,000 by 2025. We got very close to that. I think it was it was early this year, whenever Tesla hit with like $1,200.
Yeah. I was so pissed off that I didn't participate in that. I'm not used to seeing regular stocks act like penny stocks. I mean nobody could have seen that.
Time is going to tell because it's a lot of people started comparing it to Cisco during the .com bust, and that was a stock that ran from nothing all the way to like $80 a share, and then I think even still to this day, so like 20 years later, it's still not trading back at the price it used to 20 years ago. When you look at Cisco, it's scary because it makes you think if it happened to them, it could happen anywhere. And they're still around today.
Yeah,
they're a big company.
Bigger than they've ever been.
So, like, could that be a Tesla? Could it? Maybe not. I think there's arguments for both.
Could be like Rivian or something.
Maybe. I mean, who knows? But for me, I love Tesla. Like, I drive a Tesla.
Yeah.
I love the company.
You got that $78 a month Tesla.
A $78 a month
Still
Tesla.
got that thing?
You have a $78 a month Tesla?
Yeah. Well, that was the video. When I bought a Tesla, I made this whole video, and I was worried that nobody would care that I bought a Tesla. So I was like, how can I make this appealing to my audience? So I was like, well, let me talk about the finances. And that was a last minute addition because otherwise I just wasn't going to post the video and I thought it was going to bomb. But yeah, so I did the math on the car and I'm like, well, after the tax write-offs, the rebates, I put, how much, I forget how much I put. No, I put like no money down. Tesla financed the entire car at like 3.75%. So like after paying all my expenses in the first year, it worked out to be $78 a month.
Wow. That's fucking great.
Yeah. So it was like, well, I'm going to call it the $78 Tesla.
Do you get insurance through Tesla also?
I did, but they don't insure in Nevada. So I did when I lived here. And then when I moved, I had to insure through another company.
Oh, do you ever drive in that
Hyperloop
fucking loop?
No.
Are you not allowed to?
I think it's just like through the don't they have their own cars do that?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you could take any.
You should just show up and pretend like you belong there.
Probably.
Hey, I'm here. Beep beep.
Yeah.
Get me down there. I gotta.
Do you have a special horn programmed into your Tesla?
I should. I've seen people do that.
Oh, buddy, you got to do it.
I know.
Some neighbor of mine has one, and I know because he programmed his to sound like a little UFO. So I hear it when he's parking.
Oh, is that what those are?
Yeah.
Oh wait, isn't that the reverse?
I think it is reverse.
How do you do that?
So it's a setting?
It's a setting that you can. I mean, it's Elon Musk, so they're hilarious and epics, and you can make the horn sound like a fart if you so choose.
Would we be remiss to forget to ask you about your thoughts on Elon Musk?
Wait. I just have to say, since you can program a Tesla to make a fart sound when you honk, it is perfectly plausible for you to be on the receiving end of getting hit by a Tesla, and the last thing you hear is a fucking fart.
Before you die?
Fart honk. You're some poor schlub crossing the street.
And you can't hear him coming. So
No,
all
you
you're
can't hear him
hear
coming. So the last thing you hear is a giant fart sound. You're just. Anyway, I'm sorry that you had to sit here for this.
You're lucky. We took it away from him, but usually he's got a soundboard.
Oh yeah, I've got a soundboard. I'm actually
Do you
quite.
have earplugs? like just noise canceling on
He
them?
wishes.
We
Something.
can see if
Yeah.
we can get something.
Is there a mute button?
No,
We wish.
you could slap me in the face.
No.
Wait, I'm sorry I derailed that. What were you going to say? About Tesla?
Oh, we were
Please
asking,
help me.
We were asking him about Elon Musk. Your thoughts on Elon Musk?
I love Elon Musk.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. So do we.
We vowed
We-
to not talk about Elon Musk for at least a couple of weeks, so we'll just have to
I
leave.
like him.
Did you buy Dogecoin?
I did. So I have two stories on Dogecoin. The first one was back. This must have been a year and a half ago, maybe. On one of my podcasts, my co-host Jack was like, "Hey, you should buy Dogecoin." It was like a fraction of a penny. I think it was like 0.3 cents. And he's like, "You should just buy Dogecoin because it's funny." And I'm like, "It's stupid." And so he's like, "Just do it, just for the podcast." I was like, "Okay, fine for the podcast." So I put $1,000 in, and it was like 0.003%. It was like really low. I got like a whole bunch, like hundreds of thousands of Dogecoin. And I was like, this is stupid. It went down, and I think I lost like $100 or like $50. It was enough where I was like, man, this is a meal. So I sold it.
You
Didn't
dumped
think-
it for a loss?
I think I sold it for like $50 last. I mean, it was just, I thought it was just stupid. And then at the peak, like right before SNL, that investment would have been worth like 160 grand from a $1,000 investment.
What a dumb time to be alive. Just truly.
But so
I
you
feel that.
You do invest in crypto a little bit.
Yeah.
I watched one of your videos, and I quite like your measured approach to crypto. And because we on our show we talk about crypto a lot. We like to make fun of the insane stories and stuff, but there's a lot of money to be made, and I think you kind of preach a pretty responsible approach. Could you explain that a little bit, like how you invest in crypto?
Gosh, it's so simple. Invest what you're willing to lose. Just assume it's going to go to zero, and only invest an amount where, like, if you lit that money on fire, you would be okay. So for me, that amount was it started off as 1%. I'm going to invest 1% of my portfolio, and that's it. And then shortly after, that's 3%, then 5%, and now I'm getting it to 8%. And I don't expect that I'd get it past 10, but it's really just Bitcoin, Ethereum. And originally it was 60% Bitcoin, 40% Ethereum, but over time I've grown to like Ethereum more. So I'm thinking just a 50-50 split between Bitcoin, Ethereum, 10% of my portfolio, and that's it. So that's what I'm comfortable with. So if I lost it, it would suck, but it would be okay.
And you're not messing around with dips and stuff. You're just holding and investing.
Yeah, no, I buy a consistent amount every day. It just it gives me it's something to do in the morning. It's just I like it. I like going on every morning. I just buy both.
What broker do you use?
Coinbase Pro.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I just take it from Coinbase Pro and then I move it out to wherever I can earn interest.
Got it.
So you don't really mess with altcoins at all?
No. When I do altcoins, I've done like challenges where it's like on certain video, like for a Dogecoin video, I'm like, for every like this video gets, I'll invest 10 cents in Dogecoin in 1 week.
Interesting.
And so based on how many likes I get, I'll go back over a week and be like, I got X amount of likes, buy Dogecoin. So I've never invested in these before I've made a video on them. I'm not buying them after I made the video. I always say if I do a challenge, 1 week later, I'll buy the thing if you like the video for 10 cents. So, and it's just fun. It's just like, for me, I get more engagement from it, so that helps out the video. So usually it's like the extra engagement will make me back all that money. So it's like, it's a wash for me. Mm-hmm. The viewer feels like they could participate in whatever I'm talking about, and I get the investment. So, if it goes down, I don't care. If it goes up, fine.
That gives me an idea. We should do something similar. So if this video,
should scam our audience.
Well, no, but if this video gets, I don't know. I don't even know.
Don't. So I've experimented with both. I've done like, if this video gets 100,000 likes, I'll invest 10,000. People don't do that. You have to say for every like the video, because you want to invest regardless of what happens.
Right.
We can't have a threshold, because people see, we don't know if he's going to get the threshold. I don't want to be a part of it. But if they know their one like on the video means you're investing another 10 cents, they're going to do it.
No matter what.
No matter what, in 1 week.
Right. I mean, mine was going to be, you guessed it, fucking stupid.
Yeah, 69,400.
No, sir. No. good guess.
Yeah.
But if if it gets 1,000, let's say 1,000 likes, I walk over and I give Emil a kiss on the forehead.
No.
Something like that.
No, you got to invest. We're an investing.
Yeah, we need it. You're right.
podcast.
Well, but
honestly,
We've
I
already
would
done
say
it a little bit. We did if we get, because we're new. We wanted to get more. Our TikTok was lagging behind, and so I said I'll do a dance if you guys get us to 1,000.
No.
It
But
worked. It worked.
10 cents, but see how much better 10 cents a like works.
Yeah.
10 cents a like, because you got to think too, only 1 in 10 people is actually going to hit the like button. That's always been my metric at the high end. In the beginning, it could be as high as 20%, but long tail, 10%. 1 in 10 will actually like the video.
we're gonna have to think of something for this because, and I'll have to talk to my old pal Glenn about what I can.
But just say, for every like the video gets,
Yeah.
in 1 week, we'll invest that amount in blank. And you have to say, this is not a recommendation to buy said stock.
Yes.
That was a crazy one with Public, believe it or not, because they sponsor my channel.
Yeah.
And so in like some of the B-roll, I had myself buying a stock, and I didn't think anything of it. I mean, it's a big stock. Like, chances are everyone has this stock in some way or another. And it's, I'm just buying it as B-roll, talking about, like, as an example of buying a fractional share.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you can't show that stock because technically, you showing which stock you are buying is deemed as a recommendation to buy that stock.
Oh,
It's like, what?
what stock?
But I'm not,
Is it Apple or something?
it's a big one. I'm not gonna say what it was. It's a big
Shit,
one.
I think we've talked about ours sometimes.
But yeah, you could talk about it, but you can't show in an advertisement. Like this was showing B-roll. I mean, talking about Public, you could buy, get a free stock. While showing it, I was showing myself buying that stock.
Interesting.
So just because, and then there was another one that this was silly too, but I was showing B-roll of the stock. They're like, you can't show like what you are buying, but you could show a stock as an example, just not you buying it. Yeah. So I'm showing a stock, right? And I'm going through like for B-roll, like the 1 day, 7 day, 1 month, 6 month, 1 year. Mm-hmm. And they said, you can't use that. And I'm like, why? And they said, because they're all green. You have to show red. You have to show red to show that you can lose money.
Oh
I
God.
was like, what? It just happened to be green. They're all green. It's good.
It was a trend day. It was an uptrend day. Give me a break.
For consistently uptrend.
Oh, geez.
But yeah, so I had to find another stock that had like the 1 day was like green, the 7 day was red, but the 1 month, 6, so everything else. You got to show both.
Yeah.
These lawyers
It's not
take
your
all
fault
the
you
fun
pick
out.
winners, you know what I mean?
Yeah, golly.
Yeah,
Speaking of picking winners, and we're a little we're running out of time here, but we wanted to ask, what are your predictions for next year, 2022? Broad market, macro kind of big picture. Do
I
you
don't
think
know.
we're gonna have a couple 20% drawdowns? Just I don't know.
Like I said,
what do you see?
I've tried not to make predictions on stuff like that. Basically, I see the market going up long term.
Sure.
Like the recent COVID thing, well, not recent, gosh, almost 2 years ago now. Like no one could have predicted that. Like back then, I was making these predictions like, well, interest rates are going to be going up, and at this current rate, we should achieve 4.5% because they were hitting the 4s back before this, and then they knocked it down to 0. So it's like, in the long term, I see it going up. But what's crazy is that just recently, this is nuts, but at the beginning of the year, it was actually December 20th. No, it was actually exactly a year ago today. Exactly, December 21st.
Wow.
I had a monkey pick stocks for me. 10 random stocks that were was it on the S&P 500? No, they were just 10 random stocks. And I used a random stock generator. The monkey picked stocks generated from that generator. And I invested $10,000 each into 10 stocks just to compare how it did. And it was based on a study, I think it was the Wall Street Journal, that found that overall a monkey's portfolios beat a professional hedge fund manager and the market.
I hate
we
myself.
talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
But
That monkey died. There was a monkey that
if you look at what they did, it was during the .com boom, and it was picking tech stocks.
Now, whatever this was going on for like 30, 40 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was going on since the 70s, and they discontinued it. But
Damn, they had a monkey picking stocks for 30 years?
No, they simulated. So what they did,
Oh, okay.
they said a blindfolded monkey throwing darts. They're not going to get a blindfolded monkey throwing darts. So
we had one for a little bit. We had to get rid of it. It was
I
a
know.
liability.
Dangerous.
For us, yeah.
So anyway, I invested in this just to see how it did. And I checked today to see how it is. The portfolio is up 35% during a time where the S&P 500 is up 25%.
Wow.
That monkey portfolio outperformed every single investment that
Fucking monkey
that
portfolio.
monkey must work in Congress.
There was some monkey that was either picking crypto or something like that, and it recently died.
Yeah, that was a mouse or a hamster. That was a hamster. Yeah, but
God.
that was
Wait, that's real?
yeah. So it
Why
was,
do people keep making animals pick stuff?
You know why? Because they're unemotional about it. So the mouse was wild, or the hamster. Every time it went through a loop, if it went one way, it was sell. If it went the other way, it was buy. If it goes on the wheel, depending on how long it's on the wheel for, different cryptos spin. It's like one of those wheels that you spin it, and like depending on where it lands. So it would be like be on the wheel, land on this, go through the one thing. It would be like buy that. So they bought it.
Shit, that's really fun.
Yeah.
Does it make you feel silly pouring over charts?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I noticed a gray hair right in front here the
On
other
mine?
day. No, on my hair, on my head. I looked in the mirror and I just,
Going
So
too.
it sucks going gray. You just turned 30, right?
31.
Hey, happy birthday. When was your
Thanks.
birthday?
April.
April what?
22nd.
I was going to guess your zodiac sign, but I don't fucking,
I don't know.
I don't know. I only know mine.
Yeah.
What's your zodiac sign?
Taurus.
Taurus.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Cool.
Bull market.
Yeah, the bull.
The bull market.
You were built for this, baby.
yeah.
I was born, I think I was born on Black Monday.
Okay.
On
Was it
October 29th,
November? Yeah.
1987.
Fall.
Yeah, or the week of Black Monday or something. So I'm bad luck.
Yeah. You were born on that day?
I believe I was.
Okay.
Something happened on that day.
Got it.
Tore through my mom's stomach. It was a C-section. This big head. Poor mom. Anyway, I think we could end it on that note. Don't you think, Emil? Graham, thank you so much for
I really
coming. This
appreciate
has
it.
been really fun.
What's the longest podcast you've done so far?
An hour 20?
Yeah, probably
hour
something
20,
like that.
yeah.
If you want to keep
curious.
going, we got stuff for
Do you
you.
have any other questions? I was about to say, we could just hit an hour 21, but
Ooh, he likes records.
but you know what? Yeah, maybe just another few questions. I gotta.
We do want to talk about. Well,
Let's hear. Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so we'll scratch that. We won't end on that. Tell us a
I don't
little
wanna
bit
end
about
on-
what you've got. Anything you want to promote? What you're doing?
man.
Bankroll Coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Sunset, season 3.
That's Selling Sunset. Is it season? I think it's like season 5. or
Oh, I don't
something.
know.
Yeah, Selling Sunset season 5.
I have watched a little bit, and I do want to say I love you on the show because it feels very much like how I would. I don't know if this is intentional, and if you don't want to talk about it, we
Let's
don't have
see,
to.
yeah.
But it just feels like you do your best to stay away from the drama, and it's
Smart,
very.
Well, that's why they didn't. I'm not sure how much I could say about this, but that's why they didn't want me on the show. So I was in the pilot of Selling Sunset, and so they would ask me questions like, "So what do you think of Christine?" I was like, "Oh yeah, she's nice." "What do you think of Chriselle?" Yeah, no, I like her. So Heather, do you ever think like she'd date anyone in the office? I'm like, probably not. But everyone else, but like in my mind, I'm like, they're all gonna see me say. So if I say anything negative about anybody in the office, they're gonna see me say that. So it's like, why would I say anything? And I don't have anything bad to say about anybody anyway. But then I heard what all of the other people said about each other. I was like, oh, you said that? Like there was some crazy stuff being said in that pilot. I was like, that's not like I wouldn't have said that. So
Did that make for an awkward work environment?
no, because I was surprised. I mean, I think there must have been maybe a little tension in the beginning because some things were said between them that I was like, I don't know if you want to bring that up, but
there's a lot of great scenes of you kind of just out of focus, just kind of going.
So so I was upset. So that first season, Jason was really encouraging. He's like, I want you to be in it as much as you can. And so I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. And so I'd like go into the office during like off times. I'd be going in on weekends. Every event, I'd be there. And always, every single time, like we'd be sitting at a table and I'd be sitting like where you are. And they'd be like, Graham, actually for this scene, can we have you just like sitting right over there? I was like, perfect. And there's cameras everywhere, right? And then when I watch the same scene, they literally crop right there. Like imagine, like have you seen pictures of like a group of people like hanging out? I think just crop it right there, and you just think it's two people.
They want someone who's going to throw a glass of wine or call someone a bitch.
And there was a nutty one. I think it was the first season where all of us were sitting on the couch for like a meeting with Jason and Brett, and they told me to sit. This was so unnatural, but like I'd sit on the end of the arm of the couch. That's what they cropped it. Like, you have no idea I'm in the scene. I was like, what's the point if you're just going to crop me out? And then there were other times too where like I could tell if there's something like drama's about to unfold, and you could just sense it. Like, you know, the air gets a little thick, and I'm like, oh, I want to be right there. So that way, at least it's like I could be on camera, and something would go down, and then the producer would come, hey, Graham, hey, could you move over here?
Jeez.
Damn it. So like after
get
that,
into a lot though.
yeah, for the first I think 2 or 3 seasons, and then after that I gave up. I gave up. I wanted to, but I wasn't interesting. They really wanted to paint me as like this, because back then, when was this? This must have been like 4 years ago that they started the thing. So it was a while ago. They wanted to paint me as like this single bachelor who like goes out to clubs, and they were like, so do you go out to clubs? Do you date a lot? You know, and at the time I think I was driving a Lotus Exige, and they're like, so do you like, you know, you pick up girls in the Lotus? And I was like, I didn't do it. I was like, I just work. So I was more excited about like telling them about my latest deal, but they really they want to focus on the social aspect, of which I don't make entertaining TV.
Right.
But you make good YouTube, entertaining YouTube.
For YouTube, which is surprising, because I thought it was like they would want to have me on for the channel, and right then the channel was like starting to take off, and you know, so
people want to see people ripping each other's eyes out.
but it's a different audience.
Yeah.
You
Totally
know,
different.
I realized like the YouTube audience doesn't really overlap with the Selling Sunset audience, which, you know, I didn't understand in the beginning. I thought like all promotion's good, but it's just different, and I don't fit into that.
How did the real estate company, like, who approaches who to do the show?
I think it was someone approached Jason, I think, for the show, or I think, you know what I think it was? I think, and I could be totally wrong on this because I don't remember exactly, but Jason, I think, had been approached quite a few times by different shows, and he's turned them all down. And I think the reason was he really wanted to make a show centered around real estate, or he didn't want to make a show. If there was to be a show, it would only be centered around real estate. And I forget it, but he turned them all down. And I forget exactly, but I think it was like through a friend or something. Someone reached out with this pitch, and he felt, well, we may as well just give it a shot. And you know, they did the pilot. And I remember Jason wanted a lot of control in the beginning over like what was shown, what was not. And he had that approach throughout his business. Like, he was very hands-on. Everything, like every email that went out was reviewed by him. He was meticulous. And I think he liked it. And when Netflix picked it up, I think he was on board with it. So
Did you guys find that the show helped boost sales at all? Or like
you know what's
leads?
surprising? And again, this is like, my recollection is not the best because this was like 4 years ago, and this was at the time where I was like focusing more on YouTube. I think the first season, no, it didn't. And if anything, I think some clients were not a fan of the show, and they didn't want to be a part of it.
That would be my, like, just personally, I would not want to work with. It would just seem like crazy, all this drama. I'd be like, whoa, I don't know if I want to go with that
so
when I'm getting help buying a house.
So I think at the beginning there was a lot of apprehension from some of the wealthier private clients who stay out of the spotlight, and even if they're not on the show, which very few the listings are showcased, like they have to be the big listings that agree to be showcased like that. But I think some of the more private people were taken aback by that, and like, we, you know, even if our house is not featured, we're still, you know, part of the brokerage that is. And you know, so I think some people weren't about it, but in the bigger picture, I think it exposed everybody to such a bigger audience. So like, sure, you might lose out on a few percent, but you're gaining so much more on the back. So, and I from my understanding now, I mean, their business has just exploded. Now, I'm not sure how much of that is also because of, you know, the real estate shortage, but right. Jason has just been on a tear. Like, he's opened up his Newport office just recently, which is huge. Now, I've yet to visit there, but gosh, I mean, that place looks incredible. I think it was like an old bank. So wow. I thought that was so cool.
I should have gotten into real estate.
Why? You're doing great.
Seems like it's fun.
It was fun.
You get to
it's a lot of work too. And
yeah, sure, of course. Is there a part of you that misses it?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What do you miss about it?
I guess, you know, with YouTube, it's really me. I like the aspect of working with other people, and partly like that was the reason why I didn't want to do it, was because I hated dealing with other people. But I loved working at the Oppenheim Group. The clients, I would say 60% of the clients loved them. 40% were difficult, could have done without that, but I loved going into that office, and it was fun. It was like going into an office with all of your friends. You get to hang out all day, and you make money. And we had such a cool thing going back then too. Like we'd all be in the office at the same time. We'd all get lunch together. Then usually we'd go to the gym right afterwards, which was like next door to us. And sometimes we'd grab dinner, and that would be like 5 days a week. And then on Sundays, we'd all hold open houses. And it was just fun. And we'd all be like, if someone forgets something at the office, we'll call each other, hey, could you pick this up at the office? I left it there. And it was fun. I loved it. I think, yeah.
Well, what was the, if you don't mind my asking, what was the biggest listing you ever handled?
Yeah, that would be Orlando Bloom's house. And that was $7 or $8 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What part of LA?
That was Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're such a nice guy, and we're not going to do it to you, but I just have to tell you what we had talked about, because we were like, should we do bits with this guy? Should we, fuck around?
Whatever.
And but we were. I'm bringing you into the fold on this.
We get a lot of questions. They ask us, "Do that thing be hanging?" And so I don't know if you're familiar with one of the most famous pictures of your former client, but he's on a paddleboard.
Oh yes,
and that thing definitely do be hanging.
We were just going to pull up the picture and be like, "Hey, Graham, what do you think of this?" But we're not going to do that, because that's childish, and we're
trying to be good.
Yeah, we're trying to be good. That's cool. Yeah. I would.
Are you envious? Are you?
No. I think that's great. I think how
does one end up on a surfboard naked?
No,
on a paddleboard naked?
Does Orlando Bloom request you specifically, or is it just something where he goes to the group and then he's assigned?
Oh
a
gosh,
broker?
this is a crazy story. I did a lease a long time ago, and so like what I used to do to build my business is post on Craigslist for lease listings, and people didn't realize that Craigslist was a huge generator of rental listings. So I'd post a lease up on Craigslist, I'd field phone calls, and then I'd take those clients, and if they didn't like that house, I'd find them something else. Well, someone called from CAA, which is the talent manager, a talent agency, and wanted to lease a house. So I leased him a house for like $5,000 a month. And easy client, was super cool. And then 2 years later, the lease was expiring. He's like, "Hey, Graham, I want to get something else. Do you have anything up to like $8,000 a month?" I leased him another place. And then he said, "Hey, I want to give you a heads up. I'm looking for a client, or I'm helping out a client who wants to rent something up to like $20,000 to $30,000 a month.
Jesus God.
Do you have anything that you could show?" I was like, "Perfect." So I'm showing him these properties, and he's like, "Okay, perfect. We like this one. By the way, the client's Orlando Bloom, and we're going to be bringing him by. Just keep this between." And it doesn't matter now, but So anyway, so we show Orlando the house, and it came up in the conversation that like he was only renting until he could find something that he wanted to buy. And he was working with another agent at the time, but she hadn't found him a house yet. So we talked to Orlando and said, "We know you want to buy. What if we could find you something? And if your other agent shows you something, great. That's it. But if we could show you something that you like, that you could buy through us, would you work with us?" And he said, "As long as you work it out with my other agent, because I don't want to cut her out, entirely or go behind her back. As long as you could work it out with her, we're good." And so we were able to work it out with her, and he ended up buying a house. I think it was $7 million, $7.5, something like that. But he fixed it up. Beverly Hills.
You still live there?
Yeah. Has he been there? I don't know.
Is he strikingly handsome in person?
Super nice.
Bet.
Yeah, because I knew him from Pirates of the Caribbean or Lord of the Rings, and so I got starstruck when I saw him. I was nervous. I'm like, "Oh my God, right here, this is crazy." But so nice, and just you kind of forget that they're just a person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely got nervous. Such a nice guy, and he had a dog that was so cute. And he would sometimes just drop his dog off at the office if he was going to be in the area. We loved it. Because at our office, we always have 2 to 3 dogs there at any point.
This office sounds great.
Yeah, so when he dropped his dog off, the dogs would all play and like run back and forth, and then like someone would, knock at the door, and all dogs would all bark together. It was great.
Wow. Yeah. Imagine the dog gets into some chocolate, someone kills Orlando Bloom's dog. Who's got to explain that?
It's actually a misconception. It would take a lot of chocolate to kill a dog.
Yeah, someone accidentally fed it.
Yeah, I used to work I used to want to be a veterinarian. And like years ago, I worked at one.
And he tested how much chocolate it would take.
Yeah,
and it was
experimented on. It's by the body weight, but even even a small dog could eat like a whole Hershey's bar. And
are you serious?
Be totally It is toxic for them.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, but I remember having the conversation with
but a little chocolate as a treat now and then?
No, we're not advocating giving your dogs chocolate. Just
is that
to be
financial advice or
that?
Read the disclosure below if you want to feed your dog chocolate.
Read the disclosure.
Imagine if the sponsor's like a chocolate bar company.
Then we're going up. Buy more. Give it.
They make beer for dogs. We should make chocolate for dogs. The first Trillionaire Mindset branded chocolate for dogs. But and there's an asterisk and it says for human consumption only.
It's the name is chocolate for dogs, but it's not actually for dogs.
No, it's not actually for dogs. When you sell a house like that, you get what's the commission? 3%?
2.5%.
2.5%.
It's sometimes 3%, but almost always 2.5%.
Because whenever I see one of these giant $20 million homes, I'm thinking, God damn, that real estate agent is making more than a damn surgeon off the one home.
Yeah, that's if they sell the home. So here's the thing. Let's say you have a $10 million home. The commission would be $250,000 on that, 2.5%. The agent who's selling the home might not sell it. So that's first. It's not guaranteed. Then they have to spend money marketing a property. On a $10 million property, minimum, they're probably spending $10,000 to $30,000.
That's coming out of the agent's pocket?
Out of the agent's pocket. Because you got to think they're doing flyers, marketing, promotional materials.
Wow.
There's a lot of money that goes in that.
I did not know that. That's a big risk.
Oh, yeah. So, and sometimes the higher end listing, I forget which house it was, but I think it was $15,000 every time they showed the house.
Jesus.
Every time.
Shit.
Because the owner demanded, it was like $200 million house, but the owner demanded that for every showing there'd be fresh flowers throughout the entire property. There'd be hors d'oeuvres and drinks served, and that the entire house staff be present. That way, so the buyer comes in and gets to meet everyone and gets the full experience. So the house got to be, it's $15,000. But agents would pay it because they know that the commission on the, if they sell the house, they'll make like $4 million.
I hope that guy ended up selling it.
It wasn't Aaron Spelling's house.
No, it was that big Bel Air house with a helicopter on it. It was that one. I think they sold, but for like half of their asking.
This makes the movie I Love You Man make a lot more sense.
I was thinking of I Love You Man this whole time.
The stakes are so
wasn't that
lower.
the house in I Love You Man? No, maybe not.
It was
Lou Ferrigno's
Oh, yeah,
house.
Lou Ferrigno.
But I remember being like, who cares if he sells the fucking house or not?
I remember seeing the actual billboards up in
I remember
LA
he would put out the
Oh, yeah.
fancy finger foods and stuff, and they were like, this is really classy. He was putting all that money in himself.
And Jason Segel was going and just eating free
Right.
foods.
But not only that, but you also have to consider, let's say you make that $250,000. The brokerage is also taking a cut of that too. So it depends on the brokerage. Like Coldwell Banker was taking 20%. Sometimes they take 30%. A lot of the more competitive brokerages will take anywhere from 5 to 10%. And then you're paying tax on top of it in California. So it's like half of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a lot of work to sell one of those homes if it sells.
Damn.
Taxes, man. Look, we gotta fund.
But remember, the IRS is super friendly. Call them for anything.
Yeah.
They just want to get paid. That's it. They don't want any trouble, just as long
That's exactly right. As long as you pay them,
you can ask them anything you want.
yeah. I should call them and ask. Just have
How's
someone
it
to
going?
talk to. Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Gosh, the plug. Bankrollcoffee.com. You can get some coffee there.
Bankroll Coffee.
Subscribe. Graham Stephan Show. Just iced coffee hour. Just hit the like button here. That's all. I'm easy.
So Graham Stephan Show across all socials?
Oh, just Graham Stephan.
Okay.
Just go, if you type in Graham Stephan on YouTube, you'll see all the channels.
You'll find
only
it.
And get a free stock on Public. I know Public sponsors Cody a lot, so we want to support Public.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Public's great.
they sponsor us too.
Yeah.
Are they sponsoring this episode?
I don't know.
We haven't done the ads yet.
make sure they do. Reach out to Public and say, we just had Graham Stephan on. We would want Public to sponsor this episode.
We got time.
Yeah. Do that.
Okay.
Do it now because I'm 90% sure they'll do it.
Diane?
Damn it. You beat me to it.
Diane, can you make sure Public sponsors this episode? Thank you.
Who is that?
Cool. Got to make Public
she'll
look
do
good.
it.
Yeah, cool. Sign up for Public. That's it.
Sign up for
And then
Public.
now we got the record for the. I just wanted to get the most longest episode.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
you should have told us. We would have held out gladly.
No. This is it.
Oh, that's
We're good.
Okay.
Cool.
Well,
Cool.
folks, that's not the camera I want to look at. This is the camera I want to look at. You want to take
Well,
us
we
out?
could also look together.
Yeah. Oh, at this one.
And we could say, you guys asked and we delivered, all right? You
Yeah.
guys wanted Graham Stephan, we got him.
Look at what we did.
This
I'm
is
here.
for you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming
thanks for
in.
doing
it.
It's
This
been
was
a real
so great.
joy.
Yeah,
We've learned
Learned
a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly. Had legitimate questions. I was very curious
Cool.
to get some of these answers from you.
Yeah, and it's been nice to have someone kind of corral me and keep me from, going off the rails.
Wait till you see him
for
next
once.
episode. That shirt's coming off again. He's gonna
I'm not taking off my shirt again. I'm not doing anything like that that we know of. I mean, 2022 could be a wild year. It could be fun.
Let's see.
Anyway, be sure to like this video and subscribe and comment and follow us on all everything.
do all that good stuff. Happy New Year, everybody.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year. May you have a prosperous New Year.